Good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, scholars, and historians. It is my great honor to welcome you all on behalf of Lyallpur Literary Council to the International Lyallpur History Conference 2024. Retrospect and Prospect, a Journey Through Time. I extend a warm welcome to our esteemed guests, renowned speakers, scholars, and participants. History plays a vital role in understanding the complexities of human experience, shaping identities and processes. Lyallpur, known today as Faisalabad, holds a unique place in the annals of history. Established during the British colonial era, it has evolved from a small agricultural town into a bustling industrial city, contributing significantly to the economy and culture of Pakistan. The story of Lyallpur is one of resilience, transformation, and progress, mirroring the broader historical narratives of our region. This year marks 120 years of the establishment of Lyallpur city. Lyallpur Literary Council is marking it through this conference. Lyallpur Literary Council is a non-profit organization founded by a group of like-minded people with rich and diverse experience in business, education, literature, social development. LLC is working towards conserving and promoting the rich cultural heritage of Pakistan with emphasis on literature, poetry, music, arts, festival, architecture. However, the major focus of LLC is to foster and strengthen the culture of Punjab and to promote the historical as well as contemporary significance of the city of Lyallpur. It provides a platform for literary enthusiasts, artists, and scholars, especially the youth, to connect and learn. The major initiatives of LLC, including organizing literary festivals with the aim to foster literature, intellectual discourse, and cultural exchange in Lyallpur. It has been organizing the Faisalabad Literary Festival consecutively the last 10 years, bringing together acclaimed greatest writers, novelists, and poets. LLC has also organized the Lyallpur Punjabi Sulekh Mela in February 2023 and 2024. The primary objective of the festival is to promote Punjabi language. The Lyallpur Punjabi Literary Festival stands as the world's largest literary celebration of Punjabi language and has gained popularity among the diverse Punjabi-speaking population. In this two-day conference, we will explore different aspects of Lyallpur, its history, culture, heritage, and the architecture. It will not only enrich our understanding of Lyallpur's past, but also provide valuable insights into its impact on the present and future. I'm greatly thankful to our sponsors Interloop Limited and Bank Al-Falah for making this event possible and for understanding that it is need of time to explore our regional history. I'm very delighted to say that it's kind of heart-touching to see all of you here, including many of my teachers, colleagues, and even my students. Worthy President, Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain, and I talked about this conference first in February 2022. It took us almost 2.5 years to turn into this, where we have gathered people from around the globe to talk about Lyallpur and its history. I must say, he is one of the few people I have ever met who understands the value of such initiatives, and he himself, being a Lyallpuri, is deeply in love with the history of his city. When we make a call for papers for the conference, we were overwhelmed by the massive response to our call and received an enormous number, nearly 130 of excellent abstracts. Among these were many fascinating and important case studies regarding the Lyallpur. We have received the abstracts from all over the world, including USA, Germany, Dubai, UK, France, Singapore, Thailand, China, India, Jammu Kashmir, and all the parts of Pakistan. The acceptance ratio remains only 19%. This response was quite encouraging and set a high standard for the conferences in coming years. Patron-in-Chief, Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain, with your kind permission, we will proceed to our opening session, We are honored that today we have the Commissioner of Lyallpur Division, Ms. Silvat Saeed, with us as our chief guest. Ms. Silvat Saeed is a distinguished public servant with a strong background in administrative leadership, known for her dedication to public welfare and effective governance. She plays a significant role in managing and overseeing the development and administrative functions of the Faisalabad division. Her commitment to excellence has significantly contributed to the region's progress and stability. Please put your hands together to welcome Ms. Silvat Saeed to the stage to take her seat. Now, I would like to invite the person who has been involved with us during the whole process of the conference. It is our honor to host Dr. Anne Murphy here. She is an associate professor in the Department of History and chair of Punjabi Language, Literature and Sikh Studies. She is a cultural and intellectual historian whose work focuses on Punjab region of India and Pakistan. With interest in language and literary cultures, the history of Punjabi language in South Asia and beyond, religious communities formation in the early modern and modern periods, oral history, historiography, the history of ideas, and material cultural studies. Her current research concerns modern Punjabi literature in the Indian and Pakistani Punjab and in the broader Punjabi diaspora, and the early modern history of Punjabi's emergence as a literary language. Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Anne Murphy from University of British Columbia, Canada. It is my great pleasure to introduce to you a distinguished figure in the realm of literary and cultural preservation, the person behind this great initiative, Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain. As the president of Lyallpur Literary Council, Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain has been a tireless advocate for the conservation and promotion of Pakistan's rich history and cultural heritage. Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain is the founder and chairman of Interloop Limited, Interloop Holdings. Through his vision and commitment, he has successfully led Interloop over the last 32 years to become one of the world's largest manufacturers. Mr. Musaddiq has established 21 organizations in Pakistan and abroad. Mr. Musaddiq is an honorary doctorate from the University of Engineering and Technology, Lahore. Musaddiq is a member of the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister. He is also a member of the boards of Karandaz and Citizen Foundation, promoting financial inclusion and providing quality education to less privileged youth in Pakistan. In recognition of his contribution towards generating employment and his educational initiatives for the well-being of society, the government of Pakistan has conferred upon him one of the highest civilian award, the Tamgha-e-Imtiyaz. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain, Patron-in-Chief of International Lyallpur History Conference and President Lyallpur Literary Council. Sir, please join us. Now, I would like to introduce another leading figure of Lyallpur, Ms. Sara Hayat, Vice President, Lyallpur Literary Council. Ms. Sara Hayat is a prominent figure in the field of education and culture in Faisalabad, and her dedication spans over 26 years of transformative leadership. As the director and founder of the First Step Schools of Arts and Sciences in Faisalabad, Ms. Sara has not only shaped the educational landscape, but has also championed the integration of arts and sciences into modern pedagogy. Beyond her role in education, Ms. Sara plays an effective part in placing Faisalabad back into the landscape of literary and cultural maps of Pakistan. Her influential positions as the director of Faisalabad Literary Festival and vice chairperson of Lyallpur Literary Council highlight her commitment to fostering literary excellence and promoting cultural dialogue. Her initiatives have not only enriched the community, but have also inspired a new generation of thinkers and creators. Drawing from her strong management background, Ms. Sara extends her passion for community development and through significant roles, notably as the chairperson of SOS Children's Village Faisalabad, her leadership shows her strong dedication to supporting and uplifting disadvantaged children, helping to create a better future for the next generations. I request Ms. Sara Hayat to please join us on the stage so that we can formally begin our opening session. To kick off the conference, I am honored to invite Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain, Patron-in-Chief and President of Lyallpur Literary Council, to extend his warm welcome to all of our esteemed guests and participants.
Silvat Saeed, Commissioner Faisalabad Division, esteemed scholars, researchers, historians, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. A very good morning to all of you, Sat Sri Akal. Welcome to the 2024 International Lyallpur History Conference. As President of Lyallpur Literary Council, I am delighted to host this gathering of historians and scholars from around the world. I would like to extend a special thanks to the scholars who have traveled from far and wide, including Canada, the United States, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, to share their valuable perspectives. Madam Commissioner, we are deeply honored for your presence as the chief guest for the opening of this conference. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Lyallpur Young Historians Club under the leadership of Ms. Hola Chima for the invaluable assistance in organizing this conference. Her dedication and hard work have been instrumental to its success. Additionally, I extend my heartfelt thanks to our generous sponsors, Bank Al-Flah Limited and Interloop Limited, whose support has made this event possible. This is, as far as I know, the first conference of its kind in Pakistan. We have not had any international history conferences in this country. Our goal is to foster a global community of historians dedicated to understanding the past. Today we celebrate the rich history of this region with a special focus on Lyallpur and its contributions to various fields. By selecting Lyallpur as our venue, we honor its historical significance and encourage local engagement. We aim to highlight Lyallpur's unique contributions to history and promote regional studies. The Lyallpur History Conference is a platform for historians to share their research, exchange ideas, and foster a global dialogue. We encourage innovative approaches and diverse perspectives. Welcoming scholars from all regions, our aim is to create a vibrant community where history can be explored and celebrated from a broader global standpoint. Hola has stolen half of my speech, so from here on, I'll go extempore. You heard, Madam Commissioner and distinguished guests, a few words about Lyallpur Literary Council. Let me add a few more. We started Faisalabad Literary Festival about 11 years ago, and to be honest, it was the brainchild of Ms. Shara Hayat, my younger sister, who younger sister from another mother. Let me clarify that. So they came up with the idea, and I said, that's a wonderful idea. Lyallpur and Faisalabad was not known to welcome progressive thoughts and all those things. So we thought that we have to make a beginning. So about 11 years ago, the first Faisalabad Literary Festival was held. And I was amazed to see the enthusiasm and response, especially of the youngsters, the way they welcomed all type of thoughts, very progressive thoughts as well, and listened to the speakers with complete patience, posed questions to them. So we were very much encouraged. Today we are really blessed that our division's leadership is in the hands of able women. I want to add here that a unique feature of Faisalabad Literary Festival, which has been held for the last 10 years, is that it is completely managed by women. The entire management team, from top to bottom, is that of women. I don't think you see that anywhere in Pakistan. So let's give a big hand to all those women. During the course of when because of the first festival, we were not sure what would be the outcome. But the response was so encouraging that we kept on, organizing festivals. And then we thought that we should give it a more formal shape, something which can continue beyond personalities. So at that stage, we decided to establish a trust and also correct our previous mistake, I would say, to name the festival as Faisalabad Literary Festival. We should have named it as Lyallpur Literary Festival. But since it has already become a very well known name, we were not able to, we didn't want to change it. So the trust which we formed, we named it Lyallpur Literary Council. And it's a not-for-profit trust, which is registered with the Pakistan Center for Philanthropy and registered with FBR. And it is, the bylaws of the trust ensures that that there is continuity beyond the founders. It doesn't just fizzle away after the founders are gone. And because it's approved by PCP and FBR, all the donations to this trust are tax-free. Tax benefits are available to those. So a few years ago, I met Tawheed and Khola and their other sponsors of Lyallpur Se Lek Mela, and we decided that why not to take Lyallpur Se Lek Mela under our wings as well. So as Khola mentioned, for the last 2 years, we have been sponsoring, Lyallpur Literary Council has taken the Lyallpur Se Lek, Punjabi Se Lek Mela under its wings, and it has been sponsoring that Mela, which, as she rightly said, is one of its kind in the entire world for the Punjabi literature, and has received a lot of audience. Coming back to the conference, I think we, on national scale, the histories are well documented. There are archives available. But because of that, the regional histories are ignored. And there is no archive, not substantial archives available for the regional histories. And we don't understand what happened to this area, how the culture evolved, how the economy evolved. And that is why I think the conferences like these can play an important role to document, to talk about those things openly. Especially this region has a very special significance, because this region, and Lyallpur in particular, we have some very rich history, but it has also witnessed double, triple migration, which has its own stories. There were people pre-partition at the end of the 19th century who were moved to the, when colony districts were established, from East Punjab to West Punjab. And then, after partition, a lot of them had to then go back to India, and a lot of people from India had to come to Pakistan. So the situation for minorities before partition, situation for minorities after partition, and I for one actually hate to call them minorities, and people who are from other religions, how that transformed. I think there is no harm to discuss and understand that history, how we have changed, why we have changed. I as a child, we have participated in fun fairs held for Christmas. I have seen on Railway Road in Lyallpur the processions for Ashura, and all the water sabils were manned by Sunnis, you see, providing water to the mourners. So there was harmony, there was love for each other. What happened? Why things changed? And what was happening pre-partition? There are very interesting stories. I don't want to go too much into things, but I would like to at least emphasize the importance of Lyallpur. On the education front, the Sikh community felt that they need better institutions for education. And that is when the foundation of Khalsa School was laid by Sardar Sundar Singh Lyallpuria. He is known as one of the great educationists of that time. And that school went on to become Khalsa Degree College. And for quite some years, for about 10 years or 11 years, if I'm not wrong, Master Tara Singh was the headmaster of the school. And that school and college, after the migration, when I was preparing for this conference, I came to know a very interesting fact that a lot of people from Jalandhar migrated to Lyallpur, and a lot of people from Lyallpur migrated to Jalandhar. So the people who went to Jalandhar from here, they established a Lyallpur Khalsa College Jalandhar. It still exists as Lyallpur Khalsa College Jalandhar and is a very well-known institution in that part of the region. So they're very interesting. Now, affected by that Sikh community have their own college and school. Hindu community had more, access to the government college. But there was the Muslim community of that time felt that they need a school of their own. So one of my ancestors, Meher Abadan, with the help of the local notables, they established Islamia Zimidara school in our village about 15 kilometers from here, which was nationalized and still exists. But it was a boarding school, and as I know, there were people coming from Peshawar, Aptabad, Sahiwal, studying in that school, and the bands from that school and the teams from that school even participated in Delhi. Schools still have trophies from Delhi. Then we must also be very proud that Guru Nanak Sahib was born in this area. His Janam Sthan is in Nankana Sahib. We have freedom fighters although their history has been distorted, but we have freedom fighters like Ahmad Khan Kharal from Gogera and Bhagat Singh from this area. Then on the arts and culture, we are very proud that Ustad Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan was from Lyallpur. And not only him, I think especially the youngsters, they might not know that Prithvi Raj Kapoor was born in Samundri, and he actually was educated in Khalsa school Lyallpur before his father moved to Peshawar. And he was a very important figure of Indian cinema. And Raj Kapoor and Shami Kapoor were his sons. Mother of Amitabh Bachchan, Teji Bachchan, was from Lyallpur. So we have a lot of Muslim, non-Muslim, Sikh, Hindu connections which we can celebrate. The last thing which I must also point out, and is part of the, I would say, lost glory, that hockey, which is our national game and for which we have won so many World Cups and Olympic championships, most of the hockey team was fed from a small town, Gojra. And you will be amazed to know that in 1994 World Cup, there were 5 players from Gojra. In 1998, there were 6 players from Gojra. Again, in 2022, there were 6 players from Gojra. Names like Manzoor al-Hassan, Rashidul Hassan, Tahir Zaman, Shahbaz Jr., they were all from Gojra, from this area. Then cricket, our city and region has contributed a lot to cricket. Misbah ul-Haq, Saeed Ajmal, Asif Ali, a lot of cricketers. So there is a lot to be discussed and understood, and especially the generation which established this region as a colony districts are gone. The ones who saw partition as at least 10, 15-year-olds are almost gone or about to. We might have just a few handful of. Now we have left with people who have just heard stories about it. And we will be losing them, and then people like me in a few years' time. So it's important to document and, discuss the history and preserve it. I think I've gone too far because I had to go extempore. In the end, again, I would like to express our gratitude to all authors who have submitted papers. We especially welcome our foreign guests and appreciate their contributions to our understanding of this region's history. We hope your time in Pakistan is going fine, and you are enjoying the hospitality of Pakistani people. Let's continue to explore and celebrate the fascinating stories of this region together. I hope this conference provides valuable insights into the region's history and serves as a catalyst for further research and understanding of our region's rich history. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain, Patron-in-Chief, International Lyallpur History Conference. Now, I'm delighted to request Dr. Anne Murphy to please share her opening remarks. Please put your hands together to welcome Dr. Anne Murphy.
Sat Sri Akal, Ji Ayanu. So I'm really grateful to be here, and it's an honor to stand before you in this beautiful hall to share some thoughts with you. And some, I guess in some ways this is my keynote or some ideas about this conference and its importance. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I'm also grateful to the sponsors of this beautiful conference who've made it possible. And I'd also just like to note really the beauty and care that went into this conference. Every detail was looked after with such attention and love by the convener, Dr. Kholat Jima, and also Tawheed Ahmed. Let's please congratulate them on their achievement and also thank them for all they put into this in welcoming us here. So I'll begin. What does it mean to do regional history, and what significance does it have more broadly? Those are the questions that undergird our work here over these 2 days. Dr. Philip Zehmish, who is here somewhere, there he is, and I have called attention in our recent work to the continuing validity of thinking in regional terms in a special issue that recently was published in the journal Asian Ethnology. Current scholarly fashions favor consideration of big themes, whether they be in the fields of anthropology, Dr. Zehmish's field, or in my own in the field of history. Work along such lines, for example, to quote our introduction to the special issue, is, quote, configured in thematic, conceptual, or discourse-oriented terms on holistic topics such as energy, bureaucracy, pandemics, nature's cultures, the Anthropocene, climate change, more than human ontologies, phenomenological questions and futurities, or the ontologies of species, unquote, with a particular emphasis on global networks and exchanges. So where does the region stand in all of that work? As we argue in our special issue, the region must remain central to our work across disciplines to allow us to recognize the diversity of all social, historical, and cultural phenomenon, and the need for specificity and locatedness, even in our understanding of meta-processes and broad linkages. Each link in the chain, we can say, is itself distinctive and important, not just the chain as a whole. And every chain is built out of each of its links and is different for the different links that comprise it. So here we are in Faisalabad since 1977, a place that, before that, and for many still, is known as Lyallpur, founded, as we all know, after a British administrator from the 19th century. The very name of this place is thus constituted by historical processes and trajectories that are both specific to this place, but also more broadly regional and global in nature. Most directly, the histories of British colonialism and the development of the Punjab region under British rule, and the relationship of Pakistan with other states around the world, part of a larger geopolitical order. This demonstrates the point that I hope I've made so far in my comments today, that the regional is crucial, but is constituted in relation to broader processes and linkages in ways that complicate our understanding of both the regional and local, and the big stories we're so used to hearing, the national and the global. In short, that big story, which defines itself as being unbound by regional definitions, and regional history actually both need each other very much. My entry into the story of Lyallpur stems from my ongoing interest in one particular figure active in Lyallpur, Joshua Fazluddin, who lived from 1903 to 1977. I'll speak in my paper in tomorrow's one of the sessions tomorrow about his Punjabi language socio-literary journal entitled Punjabi Darbar, which he founded when he was only 25 years old here in Lyallpur in 1928. I'll speak tomorrow in more detail about the contents and authors represented in the journal, providing a sense of the interventions sought at the crossroads of the literary and the political. But today, as we consider the importance of this place and the name of Lyallpur, as Fazluddin knew it and in which he worked, consideration of his larger set of works and activities reveals the interplay of the local and the regional and and also a very far larger and ambitiously capacious landscape. So I'd like to turn for a few minutes to Joshua Fazluddin. Fazluddin has been overlooked generally in histories of Punjab in the late colonial period and in historical treatments of the Punjabi language in the period. Indeed, according to one of the few studies of modern Punjabi literature that includes him, published in India in 2022 in Gurmukhi Punjabi, Joshua Dharam ton beshak Punjabi nahi si, par Punjabi boli naal unu dilon lagao si. According to his religion, Joshua was without doubt not Punjabi, but he was committed in his heart to the Punjabi language. This somewhat stunning assertion accounts for why we hear so little of Joshua Fazluddin. As a Christian, in this author's view, he was not Punjabi. Yet, he published a foundational, self-described intellectual and literary journal, Punjabi Darbar, which I've mentioned, in the Punjabi language, in the Shamaki script, from 1928 to 1935, from Lyallpur. And he later ran a press by that same name, Punjabi Darbar Press. That was in Lahore. In a small pamphlet that he published in 1975, just a couple of years before his death, that was entitled Crusade for Punjabi, Fazluddin tells us that was in Christmas week in December 1927 that he, quoting him, heard the inner voice that said, "Punjabi needs the lifeblood of a young man." Unquote. That's what led him to start Punjabi Darbar magazine from Lyallpur the next year. And he achieved great success, he says. At the time of partition, he had written several books, 7 of which were prescribed for various university and other examinations. As he notes later in his pamphlet, he was given a robe of honor by the government of the Indian Punjab in 1953 and was called to the All India Punjabi Conference in 1959. Such achievements, he tells us, were not possible in Pakistan. As he describes, as well, quote from his 1975 text, "Some friends had started objecting seriously to my Christian approach to human problems, and my books were removed from all the examinations. Even the radio and the TV avoided my name and my contributions with the orthodoxy of the caste system. The Constitution of 1973 has now downgraded all the non-Muslims. All these kicks I have borne with patience." Here, Fazluddin reflects on the status of Christians in Pakistan. He intervenes in these debates through several works that I'll discuss. He goes on to describe how Punjabi in Pakistan is treated as, quote, "a language of the vanquished, with utter indifference, rather disdain." The lack of commitment of Punjabis to their language, he argues, is indicative of how Punjabis, quote, "are the fittest people to bear a foreign yoke, provided their master knows how to emotionalize them." Unquote. He thus warns us that, and again quoting from him, "unless our politicians change their attitudes towards the Punjabi language, nature may withhold its power and God his blessings from us." But while Fazluddin is rarely mentioned in histories of the Punjabi language and literature outside of the groundbreaking work of Julien Collimeux, he was no inconsequential figure. He was active in Lyallpur, was also an advocate in the Lahore court, and intervened in debates of explicitly political nature, writing in English as well as in Punjabi and in Urdu, both before and after partition, when he opted for Pakistan. As examples, we have his book, The Tragedy of the Untouchables, published at the Civil and Military Gazette in 1934, and his Future of the Christians in Pakistan, published in its first edition in 1949. Fazluddin was an outspoken advocate for the rights of Christians in the post-colonial state of Pakistan, raising concerns about the Objectives resolution passed by the Constituent Assembly of Pakistan in 1949, discussed in recent work by the scholar Niti Nair. At the same time, as Niti Nair notes, Joshua Fazluddin and many other Christians who had been critical of the resolution and the status of non-Muslims that it entailed ultimately made peace with it. Fazluddin later articulated powerful arguments in support of separate electorates for Christians in the state of Pakistan in a book published in 1956. My point here is that I think, as this body of work makes clear, Fazluddin was a man of Lyallpur, but he was a man of Punjab as a whole, of British India writ large, and after partition and decolonization, of Pakistan. He was a Christian, and more broadly, a humanist, with concerns for social justice and ethics in the broadest terms. All of these commitments are visible in his work. And alongside all of this political advocacy, both before and after partition, Joshua Fazluddin continued to publish in a more creative domain and to work in the Punjabi language in both scripts, as well as in English and in Urdu. In addition to the English language works that I've mentioned already, he published a number of works in both Gurmukhi and Shamukhi Punjabi, including the novel Prabha in 1945, which was first published in Gurmukhi and then later in Shamukhi. Two collections of short stories, Akhlaqi Kahaniyan, which I don't know the date of publication of that. I'm looking for that, which was published in Shamukhi, and Nikiyan Kahaniyan, so short stories, which was published in 1941, first in Gurmukhi. And then two plays, Dehati Talwar, published in Shamukhi in 1934, and Pindiveri, published in 1942 in Gurmukhi. In Shamukhi Punjabi, one can also find a collection of essays on literature, Adabi Afsane, in Shamukhi. And these are joined by a wide range of other works that have proven impossible for me to locate so far. So if anyone out there can help me, please help me get access to these other works by Joshua Fazluddin. For example, a work in English entitled The Philosophy of Hindu-Muslim Unity, a work on Punjabi customary law, as well as several novels, Kamla, Barkate, and Munde Damul, which are listed as being in the Shamukhi script or Urdu script, Punjabi Urdu script, as it's described on their description. A play entitled Zeldar, a book of poetry entitled Tare, or Stars, and theological works about the life of Jesus. And of course, his work as the editor of the early Punjabi language magazine in the Shamukhi script, Punjabi Darbar, was a central achievement. And in fact, he signed his name on his other works as formerly editor of the Punjabi Darbar. So he was very proud of that achievement. The stories in his Punjabi collection entitled Nikiyan Kahaniyan from 1941 reveal the political sensibility and ethos with which Fazluddin approached his written work, particularly in Punjabi, where we see an embrace less of the political treatise, which is his choice of genre in English, and more of the created. But that did not lessen in any way the diversity and multivocality of his work and the engagement of his work with the constitution of the social and the requirements of the political, engaging with issues and contestation at work across regional boundaries. So Nikiyan Kahaniyan is divided into three parts: Arshi Kahaniyan, celestial stories or heavenly stories, social Kahaniyan, and Mazakiyan Kahaniyan, humorous stories. He really liked humor. It was a big part of Punjabi Darbar as well. In that first section, we see a series of sketches on human and spiritual life. The first story, Do Tasveeran, two pictures, provides two snapshots, one of the birth of a son and then one of a dying mother who's brought back to life by her son. We see a story entitled Qaidi, or prisoner, which describes a prisoner who's in solitary confinement in Burma for 5 years and then who's finally allowed to interact with others. Another story portrays a fakir and another a sadhu. This celebration of spiritual figures across religious divides also resonates in his other work. The social stories section features stories that are not substantially different. They do deal with social issues, such as poverty, such as in the one-page story, Gharib, or poor, but also in allegorical terms, how God welcomes a poor man into his embrace because the poor man is ready to give up on the world while the rich man is not. The issue of caste is an important one. across Fazluddin's writings. His English language treatise, Tragedy of the Untouchables, published in 1934, provides a broad introduction to the issue of caste in India, as well as engages with the specifics of the politics around caste in the colonial period. This is a story of caste in general and encompassing terms, as well as of British India and the specifics of the politics of caste in British India. He argues thus that, quoting him, "Of recent years, the problem of the depressed caste classes has acquired such great importance that it can be said that this problem alone now constitutes the cornerstone of Indian politics. It would be no exaggeration." Unquote. Fazluddin then provides in full the refutation offered by the depressed classes Sabha of the Firozpur cantonment to a comment by a member of the Legislative Assembly, M.C. Raja, that claimed that a, quote, change had taken place among Hindus regarding caste. The Sabha argued that no such change had taken place. Fazluddin then proceeds to give a detailed outline of the debate regarding caste in the early 1930s, leading to the Pune Pact, and describes how, in political machinations, there were conspiracies against the untouchables designed to thwart any chance of real change. He argues forcefully that, and I'm going to quote him again, "The political aspect of this uplift movement, which took various forms such as temple entry movement, etc., so far as the good of the untouchables is concerned, still dwindles into insignificance." Reading across languages and genres reveals strong connections. One of the social stories in Fazluddin's 1941 collection of short stories in Gurmukhi is entitled Achut, or Untouchable. This story is less allegorical in orientation than the stories in the celestial stories section. It relates the story of a group of untouchables who dare to embrace the idea of social change. The story opens with a portrayal of a respected villager from a leather working community, Govinda, and a visit by the Achut Udhar Party, right, the Untouchable Liberation Party, to the village of Ramnagar. This group advocates for the eradication of untouchability and, quote from the story, "All of the villagers promised that they would give the untouchables free access to their homes and would allow them to fill water at their wells, and that they would never say anything that would allow anyone to know that an untouchable person lived in that village." This grand vision, however, does not last. After the party leaves, several women from the leather-working community try to draw water from the village well and are stopped. Members of the community go to the village headman to request access or to have a well built for them, just as the well for the dominant community had been built for them from village funds. In response, the members of this community are beaten with clubs by a group of young men who he identifies as Jat, and are told that they either have to accept their place in the village or leave. Several families, including Gobindas, leave the village to try their luck in the city. The story proceeds in the city, where Govinda's family is able to make their way, saying that they can from Gobinda's and elder son's labor wages. Again, the Untouchable Liberation Party intervenes again, fighting for the right of untouchable boys to go to school. Gobinda's younger son, Parsa, avails of this opportunity. So too does Gobinda, now known as Gobind Ram, who is able to open a small shop with a sign that reads, "Gobind Ram and Sons, Boot and Leather Merchants." The family thrives, but they do not forget their beginnings. In the end, Parsa serves as a magistrate, and one day 4 young men are brought before him, Kirpa, Ahmed, Chandu, and Jeevan of Ramnagar. The magistrate asks them, "Do you recognize me?" The accused, too, were very surprised and said, "No, sir. We aren't equal to the dirt under your feet. How could we know you?" The magistrate interrupts them and says, "No, you do know me. Remember Gobind Chamar, whom you had driven out of your village with sticks when he dared to use your well? I am his son." The story ends with the silence of the court in response. Why this focus on untouchability? According to a 2019 study of Fazluddin's life, published in India in Gurmukhi, Punjabi, Joshua Fazluddin is from a Kokar Jat family, not a marginalized community. Again, I'm interested if anyone knows more than me, please help me. So this focus on untouchability and its stark portrayal of power among dominant communities is striking. This creative story, Achut, is striking also in its portrayal of the very contradiction that Fazluddin highlighted in his 1934 work, Tragedy of the Untouchables, that there is a broad agreement about the anti-caste project, but unfortunately it is superficial and temporary and does not move forward as a form of social change. Here with the story, Fazluddin creates a fictional corollary to his political treatise, highlighting the betrayal of those deemed untouchable as being at the center of the political process in late colonial India. So regardless of Fazluddin's actual personal identity, it is clear that he recognized the significance of caste discrimination in the political landscape of his day, particularly in Punjab, and particularly for Christians, but also clearly linked this to broader politics across British India. His most overt political interventions, indeed, were on these two issues, the status of Christians and untouchability. The articulation of these as political issues across the genres that he wrote in, and also the languages he wrote in, demonstrates the integrated political field that operates across literature and political treatise. Fazluddin's Punjabi novel Prabha, which he published in 1945, again in Gurmukhi first and only later in Shamukhi, provides a similarly important view of Punjabi subjectivities and social possibilities in the closing years of colonial rule, during a particularly politically tumultuous time. In it, we see portrayal of religious sensibilities that cross religious boundaries, with Hindu protagonists whose spiritual journeys intersect with that of fakirs and popular Islam. It's essentially a love story, but one where the two protagonists undertake complex personal journeys that bring about their spiritual and psychological transformation across religious lines. So I'll end here. With this example, I have sought to highlight the importance of this figure of Lyallpur, Joshua Fazluddin, who is of this place and contributed to it significantly, but is embedded in a series of concentric circles, you might say, that operate in diverse terms in relation to state formation of multiple kinds, that of the colonial state and debates about governance and issues of representation within it, as well as state formation of Pakistan, with also important interactions in post-colonial India. He also operates in relation to questions of caste, and those questions crossed all geopolitical borders in South Asia as a form of enduring social exclusion that persists today. And through his creative work particularly, social issues related to religious identity and the status of women. And finally, and most importantly, in advocating for and developing Punjabi as a language of diverse forms of writing, both creative and not so, across both Gurmukhi and Shamukhi, publishing in both and founding the first Punjabi socio-literary journal in the Shamukhi script. We must understand the broad implications and capacious reach of this individual's work, just as we locate him and his work and his world where we stand here in Lyallpur. So that returns me to my opening point. This is regional history, it is also local history, but it also takes on the world. And I think that's what this conference is all about. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anne Murphy, for her keynote speech for today. Next, we are privileged to hear from our esteemed chief guest, Ms. Silvat Said, Commissioner, Faisalabad Division. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Silvat Said to share her thoughts.
Thank you very much for having me here. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. For a civil servant to be here in this, in the presence of such esteemed and illustrious gathering of academicians and historians and researchers, social scientists, students, and so many well-read people who are quite well conversed with history as such. I feel actually humbled and as well as honored that I have been given the opportunity to speak to all of you. I'm actually quite thrilled when Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain, he invited me over for this auspicious conference, which is unique and that in the sense that this has invited all the historians from across the globe, as well as unique in its essence, because history, as we all know, is not only, knowing about our own roots, about the whole mankind's, past experiences, but also as to how that has shaped our, our collective consciousness and our journey into the future. So history definitely is one of those very endearing subjects that we must put special focus on. Though I, being a journalist, was rather enamored with Will Durant most of the time, and in his own words that most history is guessing and the rest is prejudice. But still, we all know that history, while being, recorded and shaped by the man on the streets, would ultimately be, viewed through the lens and eyes of historians who have got their own personal, biases and our own, the society's prejudices. So in that sense, it is definitely an art, an industry, and a passion. So thank you very much, Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain, and all the academicians, the illustrious ones who have come here and spared time for this precious activity, which we as a nation must look up to because of the recent, understandings about this particular civilization that we belong to, which is Indus Valley civilization, which by certain parameters is now being regarded as the most oldest civilization in the world, even older than Mesopotamia and the Greek civilization. So this region and this particular land holds great value to all the historians and to the researchers and social scientists. One must be confounded with the fact that why history now, while the world is being transformed through artificial intelligence and data sciences and so much of digital and virtual, activity happening around us. But still, I must say that history definitely is the most, essential thing in building our relationship with not only with the past but also carving out our future. While we must not forget the richness of its intellectual diversity this region has produced. We have come across some of the relics in the foothills of in the Kirana Hills footsteps, whereby you would be finding the Kushan Hindu Shahi relics. And then there are certain other excavations being undertaken in Toba Tek Singh, belonging to the Sandalbar region, which date back to the Aryan dynasty, times. So we live in a very, rich and diversified culture and civilization, and our collective consciousness has definitely been shaped by those experiences that undergo into making this civilization one of the oldest ones. Lyallpur now, again, commendations to the gentleman sitting over here who has actually brought about this region into the the canvas before the international community, and I am actually thankful to him because while during my stint, very brief, which is almost 1.5 years, during that brief stint, I tried my best to endear this region to the international community in as diverse way as this region's beauties are. But still I had to run from pillar to post and to delve deeply into the available archives, and I was actually quite disturbed by finding out that we didn't have any professional curator even with the Lyallpur museum that we have. So most of the relics and most of the artifacts, they are being, they could not be handled in the most professional way, the one that I would desire. But nonetheless, we are actually trying our best to bring out its glamour, the folklores that this region has produced, the stories of love and beauty, as well as the ferocious and the most resilient freedom fighters like Dullah Bhatti and Rai Ahmed Khan Kharal, which was pointed out by Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain Sahab as well, that this region has been very fortunate in producing the best artists that we have witnessed, and one of the best thoughts, because I'm a student of English literature, so I must be sharing my own, understanding of the richness of the literary production of this, particular region, which was that while I was studying the movement in the early 20th century, which was existentialism, which was going on in Europe, I was actually not much, thrilled to understand that. And the reason which was given by my teacher, who is also a great critic, Mr. Razi Abdi, he said that this understanding that life is completely, shallow and its nothingness, that has been expounded by our poets and our writers way back in earlier times. So we as a civilization are not that shocked, or we are not that we have not been startled as such by that movement of existentialism, because we have experienced that existentialism right through the ages, and we are this concept has always been known to us. So this is the magnitude of our cultural consciousness and our deep and rich cultural heritage. And I would be very pleasantly surprised to learn about so many of research articles and papers now being presented in this auspicious conference. And I hope and pray that this illustrious gathering of academicians would continue in the future as well, and the students like ourselves would be learning a lot from the persons who have dedicated all through lives to the cause of history. So thank you very much, and inshallah going to learn a lot from this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Silvat Said, Commissioner, Faisalabad Division, for your inspiring words. To conclude our opening session, I would like to request Ms. Sara Hayat, Vice President of the Lyallpur Literary Council, to deliver a thank you note. Ms. Sara Hayat.
Assalamu alaikum ji. Madam Commissioner, Dr. Anne Murphy, Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain, esteemed speakers and distinguished guests. On behalf of the Lyallpur Literary Council, I extend our deepest gratitude to each one of you for your invaluable contributions to the success of International Lyallpur History Conference 2024. Your insights, expertise, and active participation will transform this event into a remarkable platform for dialogue, learning, and collaboration. I'm especially thankful to our distinguished speakers and panelists who have traveled from Canada, USA, UK, Germany, France, Lahore, and across Pakistan. Despite their busy schedules, they have honored us with their presence and enriched our understanding of Lyallpur's history and its broader significance through their scholarly contributions. As I'm associated with one of the schools here in Faisalabad, I'm particularly pleased to recognize the participation of 3 young scholars from schools in Pakistan and California. Their keen interest in history is truly inspiring, and I hope they will continue to explore regional histories with the same enthusiasm. I'm also thankful to our artist, Mr. Razak Vance, for documenting Lyallpur's history and heritage through the wonderful photo exhibition that we all saw outside. A special thank you to our sponsors, Bank Al-Falah and Interloop Limited, for their generous support which made this conference possible. I also want to acknowledge the hard work of our organizing team from GC University Faisalabad and Agricultural University, whose dedicated efforts have ensured the smooth running of this event. My sincere thanks to Dr. Khola Chima, the conference convener, who's truly a wonder woman. I'm so impressed, inspired by her efforts. Her tireless devotion over the past 2 years to bringing this event to practice. Additionally, I would like to thank Dr. Tawheed Chima for his dedication and contribution to the conference. Here I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain, President LLC, for his unwavering support and leadership in championing visionary initiatives such as this history conference and the Faisalabad Literary Festival. Sir, you are a true role model, a mentor, and a beacon of hope for this community. Let me share one incident here. When we were, the first time I went to Musaddiq Bhai, as I call him, to talk about Faisalabad Literary Festival, and a team of people went with me to convince him to be a part of Faisalabad Literary Festival. I think one sentence of mine convinced him, and I said to him, it's for the love of this city. The city we both love and the city we both want to contribute to. So thank you so much for that, Musaddiq Bhai. As our scholars reflect on their diverse themes and discussions, I hope the connections made here and the ideas exchanged will lead to continued collaboration and exploration in the field of history. Thank you once again for your presence and participation. We look forward to your continued engagement in future as well. Thank you.
I request Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain to present a souvenir to our chief guest, Ms. Silvat Saeed, for her honorable presence and inspiring words. Thank you so much, Ms. Silvat Saeed. Your valuable insights and esteemed participation have greatly enriched our event. Thank you so much, Mr. Musaddiq Zulkarnain, Dr. N. Murphy, and Ms. Sara Hayat.